Hey, brothers and sisters, welcome to The Port. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, Dave, this is not the message we were expecting. Well, let me tell you that while I was studying Ephesians chapter 2, it led me to a place where we started talking about the subject of the flesh. And as I was studying and reading Paul's commentary, I kept going on, and it kept leading me deeper and deeper and deeper. And I thought, this is going to pull away, but I felt like I needed to kind of bring some clarity about the flesh, because we never really talked about the flesh. And it actually addresses some of the issues that I wanted to address with you guys before. So that's what we're going to do in this talk. I'm going to try to make this talk as short as possible. So let's just begin. The flesh. Let's begin first by defining the word flesh. The word flesh means different things depending on the context. The original word sars literally means flesh, as in earthly body. You see it in Matthew chapter 26, Acts 2, 2 Corinthians 4. By extension, the word flesh can also imply people, humanity, a marriage union, our forebearers, our kinsmen, our earthly lives, the whole species. Now, there are two other words that are sometimes translated as flesh, and it's the word soma, which commonly means body, and kris, which means meat. But there is a deeper meaning in the Bible for the word flesh as well. And in the Bible, the word flesh refers to an earthly mindset, a worldly manner, or a worldly point of view, or a human standard, human efforts, human pedigree, human accomplishments. Basically, in short, the word flesh is referring to things which are worldly instead of spiritual. Okay? What does it mean, first of all, to be in the flesh? When the Bible talks about someone being in the flesh, well, that has two meanings, being in the flesh. The first meaning is of being in the flesh is being in the body, talking about the body. Philippians chapter 1, verse 2, Paul says, I am to live on in the flesh. And what he meant is I am to go on living in the body. The Bible talks about the Son of God came in the flesh. That's talking about he came in the body. First Peter talks about suffering in the flesh. That's suffering in the body. And Romans 8:3 talks about condemning sin in the body. So that's the first meaning of in the flesh, means in the body. The second meaning of in the flesh is talking about those who do not believe. Paul talks about this in Romans chapter 7, verse 5, where he says, while you were in the flesh. And what he's implying there is while you were basically unsaved, or you're speaking about your unspiritual past, your disconnection from the life of Christ. And we know that the Bible says in Romans 8:8 that though those who are in the flesh cannot please God. If you are one who rejects the Spirit of grace, you can't bring anything really good to God. Okay, because the flesh cannot offer anything good to God. But thank God, as the Bible says in Romans 8:9, however, you are not in the flesh, but you are in the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of God dwells in you. Now, here's the catcher. That even when you're walking in the flesh, which we're going to talk about, you are always in the Spirit, even though you're walking in the flesh, because in the Spirit is that's your new reality. Okay, you're in the Spirit, but you can still walk according to the flesh. Now, let's talk about that, walking according to the flesh. Now, like I said, all Christians are still in the flesh, in the body, right? But we are not to walk after or live according to the flesh. The Bible makes it very clear. We're not to be mindful of the flesh. We're not to indulge the lusts of the flesh or wage war according to the flesh. But what does that mean to walk after the flesh? Walking after the flesh is when we attempt to get our needs met independently of God. is trusting in yourself, your own abilities, your own understanding, living solely on the basis of your earthly experiences, what you see, what you hear, what you touch, what you know. And we could walk in the flesh not only in the pursuit of bad things, but also walk in the flesh in the pursuit of good things. And that's the one subject I wanted to talk to people about, because we could be in the flesh and do and pursue, like I said, we could pursue the good things in the flesh. One of the popular one is when you use the law. When you use the law of God to somehow please the Lord. When you're using the law of God, on the face of it, it seems good. Oh, it's the law of God. Keep the rules. It appeals to that need of goodness and righteousness. But to trust in law keeping is not to trust in the Lord. When people say, well, Jesus saved me, but now I have to keep the law to stay saved. Man, you're not trusting in the goodness of God, in the goodness of Christ, his ability to maintain you. Your job is to trust him to preserve you and to depend on him, not on your efforts and your works. And there's a whole thing that we could go into that, but I'm not going to go into that. Like if you're a person that feels that they're successful in the law because you kept the rules, you feel like you're keeping the rules. One of the things that I've noticed is people that are successful in law keeping, man, they're full of pride. Pride is the first thing we're all full of pride, but and I'll tell you from experience, when I felt that I was walking the straight and narrow, dude, there was arrogance in my life, and you don't have to say it. You know it. You know, if you're one of those law keepers, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to elaborate. You think yourself, man, you don't say it, but you kind of look down at people. Anyway, the other side of that is if you're a law keeper and you're not successful, you're constantly walking around condemned and exhausted, But that's what the law does. It's supposed to condemn. It's supposed to bring you to the end of yourself. Because the law, not only does the law inflame sin, that means it stirs sin up, but the law is also a minister of death. That's what the law was. It's good, but it's a minister of death. So, but that's a whole nother separate thing. Anyways, kind of lost where I was going. Talking about walking in the flesh, okay? It's an attempt to live a life independently from God. Live by your own strength, your own wisdom. But God gives us a choice whether we can walk by the old ways of our own strength and wisdom, or by the new way, by the Spirit that we are in. We're in the Spirit. We can either live by faith in that life or live by sight. We could either live worldly or live spiritually. We could either trust in ourselves or trust in the Lord. It's a choice. Every day it's a choice. You can either walk according to your own mind and the things of the flesh, or you could walk in accordance to the Spirit and the things of the Spirit. That's Romans 8:5. Okay? Jeremiah 17:5 says, "Cursed is the man who trusts in mankind and makes flesh his strength." And how true that is. And whose heart turns away from the Lord. So to walk in the flesh is to walk independently from the Lord. And to walk in the Spirit is to walk in trust in him. So I just wanted to share that with you guys about the flesh. I hope that gave you some insight on the flesh. So go ahead and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and also leave a comment if you want to, get into a dialogue about this. But I will also encourage you to go to Paul Ellis's Grace Bible Commentary, and he goes into much deeper and talks about some other things that I didn't feel I needed to go into. But anyways, go check that out. Love you guys, and looking forward to talking with you guys soon when we're studying Ephesians chapter 2. Love you guys.